It is my privilege to introduce to you tonight one of our special guests, an architect who has turned recently the country's first national barbecue editor, Daniel Vaughn.
I have Channel Silver.
How's it going, everybody? Enjoy that brisket? All right, y'all can't leave me alone up here. I gotta ask y'all some questions. It looks like people in New York like Texas BBQ too. All right, well, you know, at Texas Monthly, we take our barbecue pretty seriously, so we like to do a little traveling tour to bring our #1 guy around the country. Aaron, are you cool with going around to maybe all 50 states with this tour? Or? Oh, okay, you got to get back to the restaurant maybe? All right, well, glad y'all have enjoyed it. I'm going to bring these two back up here, and we're going to do a little Q&A session here.
Starting to hurt a little.
Rough night? So, Mark, when this place opened up, did you know that New Yorkers were going to like barbecue this much?
I knew there were a lot of Texas expats in New York, but I don't think we could have expected what happened after we opened our doors 6 years ago.
And you told me a story earlier today that 6 years ago you ran some beer lines in hopes of getting a certain label in here.
Yeah, so when I grew up on the East Coast. My father's from Lockhart, Texas. My mom was from Texarkana, Texas. And when I was a kid, every time we would visit my grandparents, we would fly into Austin. And our first stop before we even got to my grandparents' house was Kreitz Market. And so when I was growing up, I had a sort of this nostalgic, iconic image of barbecue. And when I was a kid, eating with Big Red soda. But as I got older, drinking with Shiner beer. So when we opened here, in 2006, when we were under construction, the guy who was our contractor asked me if we were going to have beer on tap, and I said no, we just were going to do long necks, because I just remembered long necks at barbecue joints. But I said if Shiner ever comes to New York, we may put Shiner on tap. So we ran the beer lines in 2006 to both of our bars, upstairs and down, and they've been dry, or they were dry, I should say, until about 2 months ago, when Shiner finally got distribution. And we were happy to have installed the beer taps, and Shiner beer is flowing now with Hill Country.
So you're importing some beer from Texas. You're also importing some sausage?
We're importing sausage from Kreitz Market. We bring in ice cream from Bluebell. We bring in Big Red soda, and we truck in our post oak from Texas as well.
So Kreitz Market, for all of you who might be unfamiliar, is in Lockhart, Texas, and the business opened in 1900, still going strong, and they made our recent top 50 list as well. So I've got a few questions here for Aaron. He only spent I don't know, when did you get up this morning?
We actually slept pretty late today. We got up at 5:45, which is awesome for barbecue. All right. That's really sleeping in.
So did you just microwave these briskets?
Yep.
All right, good.
Yep.
All right. So how old are you?
I think I'm 35.
Okay.
My wife tells me I'm 35.
So to gain all this barbecue knowledge, you must have started when you were like 4, 5?
We started cooking barbecue in our backyard probably about 10 years ago, I suppose, just like anybody else that lives in Texas that has a backyard. My parents had a place when I was a kid. I was about 9, 10, 11 years old. They had it for a few years. I think that kind of set in the nostalgia for it, so I blame them.
Well, I noticed tonight, like every time Aaron Franklin's cutting brisket, there was a line. How long is the line at your restaurant these days?
I'm a little scared to say, but right now, on a busy Saturday, there may be, I think we've counted about 400 people out front before we open. That line starts at the front door, goes down the wheelchair ramp, goes down the front of the building, goes down the parking lot, and curves up the street behind us, which is about a city block's worth, and then ends, it's been kind of ending at the driveway of the business behind us on the street one over.
So that's a long line.
It's a long line. And there's people throwing a football, there's like dogs catching frisbees, there's easy ups, there's lawn chairs, there's coolers.
Cornhole? Really?
People play cornhole, and I think I maybe made fun of them a little too much, and they packed it up and left.
Oh, really? All right.
Well, you know.
And so you open at 11 a.m.
We open at 11.
And the line starts about...
I'd say earliest right now, it's probably 6:30. And I'm on the busy days, being a Saturday and a Friday and stuff, I'll go out there and be like, look, it's way too early for this. You guys need to go back to bed or like maybe take a nap on the patio. Do you need a cup of coffee? You can get tacos over here. You should take a nap or something. Because I mean, it's pretty ridiculous.
So you're saying the folks here in this room maybe got a little bit of a bargain as far as the line goes?
Maybe.
Oh, okay. All right. Have you ever stood, or do you still stand in line for anybody else's barbecue?
I do sometimes. I don't have a lot of time to stand in line. We recently went up to Dallas. That's in Texas, y'all. My wife and I went up there to do an event for Daniel's book, and Sunday morning came along. We
Fully
got up,
paid.
completely. Got up, went and stood in line for probably a couple hours at a place called Pecan Lodge, which is also in the top 4. Super great place, but yeah. So if it's a good place, we'll surely stand in line.
Okay. And so you still occasionally eat barbecue for fun then?
Very rarely.
Okay. So
Twice a year.
So when you're not just sampling barbecue at your own restaurant, what would you rather be eating?
Pretty much tops on our list are sushi and salads.
Okay. And do you dip any of that sushi in espresso barbecue sauce?
No, just ranch.
Ranch. Okay. All right.
No, lots of vegetables. I mean, you deal with overcooked, red meat all the time. It's kind of nice to get something not red meat and really undercooked.
And completely uncooked, maybe.
Completely uncooked.
And have you found any like really good ranch dressings here in New York?
Oh,
Sushi?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. You get up pretty early in the morning. Some people might call it late at night, depending on your perspective. How do you stay awake? Like Folgers?
I still call it late at night.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Late at night.
On an early morning, I'll be driving to work about 1:30 a.m. Bars are still open. It's pretty sad, really. But, I mean, it just takes a lot of espresso. I drink a ton of espresso.
How many?
I've had 4 today.
Okay.
But
And those doubles?
and I slept till 5:45.
All right, so if we backtrack, like getting up at 1 a.m. All right, so a lot of espresso.
So if we really want to get detailed with it, I wake up, I get to work. Braun, the fellow that's here cooking tonight also, he's probably still at work. It's his nighttime. It's my morning time. I show up. I probably do 2. We could get really nerdy with this, but I have two espressos. Then rub the ribs, get the fires going, go have another one. About an hour later, have another one. Maybe a couple hours later, have another one. By lunch, I've probably had 6 or 7 sometimes.
And at that point, you abandon your station and let him do all the work, kind of like you did tonight?
Yep.
Okay, good. So on a busy day, you cook about 1,500 pounds of meat.
Correct.
What size of team does it take to put out that many pounds?
I think I know what most places would use, and I know how many people we use, and it's not very many. On a Saturday, which, as we all know, is the busiest day for a barbecue place in Texas.
You're saying don't hop in line on a Saturday if you want a short wait?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we run five cookers, and I'm the only one on Saturday morning that runs those. Braun also runs the 5 cookers at night, like on a Friday night. There's 2 guys at night that do the night shift on the busy nights, and then we're about to start having kind of like a second guy for the morning, some of the busy mornings to put up the orders as they're coming in, because apparently watching 5 fires is kind of a lot to handle. But we have 6 people in the kitchen. There's 3 shifts a day, 24 hours a day, and there are only 6 of us. That includes myself.
Okay. Well, so you could afford to put a few more smokers in there with that huge team.
Sure.
Yeah. And so the smokers that you've got out on site, I heard that you made them?
You probably heard correct.
Oh, okay. So you can weld a little. Or are they made out of wood?
They're actually molded out of silly putty.
Oh, all right.
But so we learned how to weld because of course it's cheaper to buy a welder and learn how to weld than it is to actually buy cookers. And another benefit of being able to weld is that if something breaks, which is pretty frequent for barbecue pits, especially if I built them, you can tack a handle back on, or you can change something, or if maybe it's not working real good, you can change a smokestack, and you can kind of fix things when they're not cooking, which is very often. But yeah, it's kind of, you know.
All right. Well, you're most well known for your beautiful briskets. Can you talk to me about what goes on in your mind when you put out a nice, beautiful tray of sliced brisket, and the first thing that a customer does is takes one of your sauces and just dumps it all over the top?
You ain't from Texas, are you? It hurts a little.
Just a little?
You know, just a little. You know, I understand sauce is there for a reason, you know. In my opinion, and this is a very Central Texas way of thinking, you know, sauce is primarily there to cover up something that maybe is less than awesome. You know, but everybody kind of feels differently. Obviously, you know, different parts of the country have different feelings on this stuff. But, you know, you spend 18 hours cooking. You lost a night's worth of sleep. People are away from their kids at home. They're, you know, like shoveling coals, and it's 120 degrees outside. And
Man, this sounds glamorous.
it really is awesome.
Yeah,
It's it's up there. You know, and then you cut this piece of brisket, like, wow, awesome. It's so perfect. Look at that. And then you see them out there, and they're just like, you know.
Kind of like putting ranch on sushi, huh?
Kind of.
Oh, okay.
You saw where I was going with that.
Yeah, wow. Nice to tie
That was
tie that in
unintentional,
there.
but, you know.
Very nice. So if you weren't doing barbecue, and you had a choice, not something you were forced to do, what would you be doing instead of barbecue?
I would imagine I would either brew beer like everybody else wants to, or probably roasting coffee. I think coffee is probably my next thing.
All right, so you'd be roasting coffee, drinking coffee, so you could stay up longer to roast
More coffee.
Okay, all right.
It doesn't work for barbecue. The more barbecue you eat, the more sleepy you get.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I've had that happen sometimes. So when is your New York location opening up? I heard it's coming maybe in like Times Square. Or...
Not gonna happen.
Ah, okay. So you're saying...
And that's why Hill Country's up here, because every once in a while I can come up here and cook here.
So you're saying you're in Austin, and you're
And
gonna stay
I've
in
already
Austin.
talked to Aaron, and he's promised to make this an annual ritual. Right?
Oh, hey, all right.
We haven't signed the papers yet. There are no papers. It's just more like, yeah, sure, sounds great.
All right, well, we want to thank all of you for coming tonight. We want to thank Hill Country and Marc for hosting us all. We want to thank Aaron for shuttling meat up here and smoking it and cutting it for us all and making it incredible. So thank you all, and thanks for coming. I hope you all enjoyed it.
Yeah, and thank you guys so much for coming out tonight.